yeah, Pat, with your and your iPad now, yeah,
Yeah,
the camera is much better.
yeah, I've noticed as well.
I was like, oh, Pat looking sharp. Oh
Mhm.
Yeah,
wait, this is just the camera.
I said
My
that before.
my biggest worry was you guys not hearing me because like there's been times where I've joined calls on my phone and I've been speaking and nobody's heard a word I've said. So I'm glad you can hear me at least.
That's good. Yeah, maybe the iPad's just a bit better in this case.
Yeah, well, it has to be better this week because the Discord app ain't working on my laptops.
Um, when I
I did.
joined the first, huh?
What's that?
Oh, what did you say first?
Oh no, I just said that the Discord app wasn't working on my laptop.
When I joined the first time, I was trying to join on my Xbox, but I didn't realize the Discord app is no longer on the Xbox.
Wait, really? Why did they remove it?
Like I swear it used to be there because I
I think
remember the integration.
That's
Huh?
dumb.
Did you say Pat?
I think it's a rights thing.
Yeah, probably. So then I went onto Microsoft Edge, the browser, and then logged into Discord from there. But I don't have a compatible headset with a mic because I never used to use a mic on the Xbox. I would just use like Discord or something else on my phone outside of it. I haven't I haven't had like a proper headset with a mic in a long time. I think I have one to be honest, but I would have to go searching for the different bits and parts.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Annoyingly, it shouldn't be this hard for it to work. It's like Xbox is a gaming console. Discord was made to be like the best gaming app or adjacent app. So I don't get why the two things weren't compatible. Just dumb that their rights didn't work.
Because Discord sucks.
Oh, we have two Robs. He's cloned.
The clone.
Yeah.
God, that would be a disaster.
there's a shirt that you might like, Ben. Is a Homer Simpson shirt in Primark at the moment. If you haven't, if you don't know, it says, is it the something clone in the third clone in, but it's like a donut as the O. And it's like
Oh.
horror themed. I think it's a reference to one of the horror Simpsons episodes.
The Trace of Horrors, yeah. Oh, that
This
sounds
is like,
cool.
yeah.
There
I
was an
wanted,
episode where Homer was cloned, or he cloned himself, and it was a disaster, as you expect.
yeah, it's probably a reference to that. But it was also the classic meme, him disappearing, but they didn't
Oh,
have it sized anymore. So
is that the hedge one?
yeah,
Sweet. Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening.
Is Chloe and Simon joining today or no?
I can't say on behalf of Simon, but for Corey, I'm afraid she won't be able to join us today.
Okay, hope she's okay.
She's not exactly. To be fair, to put it bluntly, she's had more family trouble. Like her uncle has been called ill. And it's pretty bad because her uncle was the son of her grandma who sadly passed away through leukemia, and it turns out he has the early signs of leukemia as well. And it's quite a sudden thing. Even though he's in his 60s, he's also he hasn't had the most healthy lifestyles as far as I've been led to believe. But at the same time, it's really suddenly hit him, really eerily, all of a sudden. And so Corey's mum, the sister of the Corey's uncle, she's having a really hard time, especially because this was incredibly out of the blue, and he's hospitalized at the moment. So they're trying to get to the bottom of how severe and how terminal this case could be. So it's not looking good, but yeah, Corey's trying her best to be there for the family as much as she can, taking turns with her sister and her mom to visit her uncle in the hospital. But yeah,
That's pretty shit.
Yeah, it's time for them all, really. Just like, yeah. Yeah, wow. I'm thinking of her.
yeah, thanks guys. She misses you guys and wishes you the best as well. So hopefully she'll be back next week, but we'll see.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Simon? Someone backpacking somewhere, or?
As far as I know, he's still somewhere in Asia, but I don't know where.
Yeah, he's what is he doing over there? Is he on holiday or is he on like a mission?
Well, he went
A mission?
he went to Hong Kong to sort out some paperwork, and then he went to Thailand after. So I think he just made a holiday of it.
Oh,
That's good. Did he go on his own, or did he go with a
I
family?
think he went on his own.
Really?
The holiday was planned.
How
The
was it?
Hong Kong thing was not initially planned.
Oh, right,
That was
okay.
just tacked on because of, it wasn't even really his fault, but one of his brother's fault. But anyway,
It's like one of those things where if you're going that kind of far, you might as well kind of add on
Yeah.
another things at the same time.
exactly, rather than make it a separate trip because it needed to be done.
yeah, there's a far place to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair. Oh, Emmanuel, this is completely irrelevant and irrelevant to everyone else, but I'm going to say it because I've been forgetting to say it. I've been using the cream that you gave, and I really like it, and it's really good.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. If
Yeah.
y'all want any more at any point, just let me know. Send you some.
I feel like you need to come up with like a brand and then give it to everyone.
Yeah, just to make
You-
plenty.
You could have Palmolive, like Palmolive.
Or Palmer's. Isn't Palmer's? Palmer's is
Palmer's is cocoa butter.
Palmer's shaped like that. There we go.
Ironically, Palmer
Oh.
who makes shea butter.
Oh, shall we make a start? I'm really tired.
Yeah, go ahead. If we fall asleep, we apologize.
Not
It's not
really.
because of the film.
What do I have to do now?
Well, usually Simon handles that bit.
Yeah, say is it good? It good or it suck?
Is it what?
I think it's a bit early for that, but
Yeah, yeah, true.
Usually Simon would say, "Rachel, why did you pick this film?"
Okay. Why did I pick this film? I picked this film because I had another film in mind that I was going to pick instead, but it was quite similar, I think, in terms of dystopia, like not dystopia, but like what if this could happen kind of thing. And I felt like I'd done that with Swan Song, so I was just gonna I wanted to pick something different. So that was the first thing. And then I was saying to Rob that I think a lot of my films are the films I have enjoyed, because I would say like I think I watched a lot of films when I was younger, not so much kind of early adulthood, whatever, but now obviously more so. But a lot of the films that I've enjoyed have been because I've watched them with my brother, and my brother's introduced them like to me. My brother is, what's my brother? He's your age, same age as Rob. Yeah, and he's just how would you describe Josh?
I don't know, how would I describe Josh? He's just like, he likes to be like the clown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he'll kind of try and make a joke out of everything, and he's still got quite like a teenage sense of humour.
Yeah. So he introduced me to a lot of films, and like it's kind of similar films like I guess like American Pie or Accepted, and obviously role models as well. And so I think for me it was kind of like, oh, I watched this when we watched this together when we were younger. Let's watch it again now and kind of see if if I still enjoy it the same way when I was younger. I can't remember what age I watched it because it came out in 2008, so I was There we go. Thank you, mathematician. I would have been 14. So I don't think I watched it when I was 14. I think I maybe watched it when I was maybe slightly older, but not massive. I don't know. But I remember, like I said, because of my brother and his humour, and because I guess of our humour, we found Ronnie hilarious, for example, and we found like the storyline just funny. But seeing, I guess, this 10-year-old kid have an absolute I guess like kind of filthy mouth and kind of a lot of attitude and so on. I think for us at the time, it was really kind of funny. We enjoyed it. Like Paul Rudd, and obviously knew what's he called, Sean William Scott from American Pie. So yeah, we just really enjoyed it as a film. And yeah, I wanted to rewatch it, and kind of Rob's not seen it before, so I wanted to show Rob. And it's just more for kind of like the sentimental reason of, I guess, what it meant to me, even though I'm not like super close to Josh. But it was like a nice kind of moment to go back to in terms of, yeah, this is a film that we loved, that he showed me. Well, I still love it at this point. Yeah, and X amount of years later, so that's why I picked it.
Did you still love it?
Did I still love it? I still enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it because, like, even today, so my brother came today to Worthing to see us. I told him I picked it, and even then, he responded to me picking it like he would have done like he would have done years ago. He's just a bit of a child, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, that film is so funny." And then he could recite all the lines to me that he found funny. It's the top of his head, like literally in a moment. So, in a way, like I still find the film funny because it reminds me of my brother in a sense. But I think there were certain flaws to the film. I think now that I've worked in like teaching, and I guess I look a bit more, you know, not perceptively, but like, like the stereotype, I guess, of the black boy that his dad, for example, and all that kind of thing. Like from a sociological perspective, I guess there's certain things I'm like, oh, that was really poorly like explored, or actually that could have been better explained, or yeah, I think for me, the story of Augie was much clearer and kind of a lot stronger in terms of a character. Whereas for me now, even though Ronnie was really funny and really hilarious at one point, and this, still seeing a 10-year-old little kid come out of, having titties and, like accusing him of being racist, like still funny, but I think for me it kind of felt a bit, like I said this to you kind of afterwards, like surface level. I'd love to have found out a bit more about Ronnie, and I don't really feel like it kind of explored that side of things more. I think Oggy had a clearer storyline and journey, and maybe a clearer influence on Paul Rudd's and his kind of like life than not Stifler, what's he called? Ronnie and Sean William Scott's kind of pairing, if you see what I mean, as well. So yeah, I still liked it. I didn't like it as much, but obviously I'm older now, and at that time it would have been a lot more funny to me because I was younger. As a story, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think so earlier on Rachel was looking at kind of like trivia and stuff like that, and she said something that made me go like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense." And it was a lot of it was improvised because they made it halfway through a writer's strike. And I was kind of like, that explains why maybe a lot of it wasn't very fleshed out.
That really interesting. Like so many films are affected by that in 2008, and I didn't realise it was. Of course, it would be. Damn.
I didn't know about the strike then, yeah, but yeah.
They really improvised that much. I mean, I know Paul Rudd himself. He does does a lot of improvisation and stuff in his career anyway. And a lot of the comedies he was in, that would be part of it. Like they give him just a little bit, and then him and the other comedy actors and whatnot would just riff the rest of it until they get to something they like.
Mm.
But that thing, I, I mean, I guess they made it work in their own way, but man, that feels like a lot of work in an annoying way.
I think that's the thing though. When you know that it was kind of disrupted by the strike, you do kind of look at things and go like, okay, maybe that's why Ronnie was kind of like knocked out on a little bit.
Mm.
Um, But yeah, I was thinking like the whole story with Oggy and like his parents thinking that his hobby's stupid and all that kind of stuff. I found all that really sweet, and I really liked Paul Rudd's character and the way he was like interacting with them, and the way he was like slowly interacting with Oggy on a more kind of like respectful level. Because he kind of starts off just thinking like, "This is ridiculous. Why am I doing this kind of thing?" And then as he kind of like learns how much it means to him and how his parents are seeing it and that kind of thing, like the way that he kind of like learns to respect him for all of that, I thought was quite nice.
Yeah.
But I felt like the way that the film treated Paul Rudd's character as if he was the problem when he was just a bit grumpy. I was a bit like, wait, Sean William Scott is a lot more problematic. Yeah, I think once you find out that the writing was disrupted, it's like, okay, that's probably why. That's why it treats Paul Rudd in the way that it should treat Sean William Scott.
Sorry.
Good.
This is. Ben, you're gonna say your opening statement, should I?
Sound system.
Obviously, as I didn't see it when it came out, I didn't have a previous connection to this film like you or Pat even did. But I do, I get kind of like what kind of film it's supposed to be and the vibe it was trying to go for. And as Pat was saying, it's got this American Pie kind of like the silliness to it, but underlying it all has a lot of like poignancy and a bit of more of a sweetness and a bit more of a point to it than your usual kind of like comedy of that era. Even though some of the jokes are very like juvenile on the surface, and if it's things like, I think Alec mentioned it was like, oh yeah, there's just swearing constantly, and this is like a potty mouth, this and that, and this, and it's true. It's like in some ways the adults are just as juvenile as the kids are. Paul Rudd's and what's the other guy called?
William Scott.
Yeah, Paul William Scott, especially him. They're just big kids, really. They're just as silly and immature as the other younger characters are. But I think that's kind of the point to it. They have a lot of maturing to do, and it only takes them to go on this program for them to realize and to mature as human beings, which is quite cool. I think what I would like this film more to be is that if it kind of focused more on the serious side as well as for the silly humor as well, which is fine. I did find some of it funny, some of it not always, but some bits I understood what they're going for. I just kind of wish it had more poignancy. And when we get to the favorite scenes, I'd be like, yeah, this is some of the bits I liked for this and that reason. So it could have leaned into that a bit more and held home against, kind of emphasized like the main themes of the film more strongly.
Yeah.
I thought, but I did enjoy it, even if some parts of it. This is not a dig. Did remind me of a Family Guy episode. also, like it's a New Age Simpsons episode, because I don't know if Rob at least saw the episode where Bart and Lisa go up against the postman or like the delivery drivers, and they have to do this kind of like role play, which is very much like this film. It's like the ending of this film is basically that episode where they just have to basically become this army to fight against the posties, all the delivery men and all the couriers, and it's just like Bart and Lisa holding this army against them. So it has a lot of like silliness that I really appreciate, of just going into this fantasy. And what was his name? Christopher Mintz-Plasse, or what's his name? You know, the guy. Yeah, him. He was underrated. I thought he was really good, even though he kind of plays the one note kind of nerdy guy. He was really, really good in this, and you really empathized with him from whatever he had to go with his family. He just became into his own at the end, and he kind of became more confident as the film went on. So yeah, there's some really good characters in this, and it kind of, more you think of it, I was like, yeah, that's quite good. Yeah, it's quite so. So yeah, there's a lot more going to it than meets the eye, as let's say in Transformers.
Yeah, I must admit, I did quite like that whole ending. Like but the whole thing of them creating their own country and then just being kissed. Like, I mean, it's you kind of see it a mile off, but I did kind of like how chaotic the visuals of it were. like with everybody in their kind of like period dress and then their period dresses kiss. Like, I just thought it was quite a nice
Yeah.
kind of.
It's a good
It's
juxtaposition.
like it's the whole idea of that kind of thing is that you can be what you want to be, and they wanted to be kissing. I quite like. Yes.
I was
Look
trying
like
to
you were,
unmute myself.
and then you just coughed into your elbow.
Huh?
You look like you were about to say something, and then you coughed into your elbow.
I was trying to unmute myself and just everything was happening. My head's not working right. Camilla, what were you saying about the end earlier? I don't want you to forget.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like the ending because I just felt like Paul Rudd's character had a bit of character development, and he honestly probably just needed a new job and like a holiday and some antidepressants or something. But then the other guy, I've forgotten his name. I felt like he didn't have any character development at all. Like he was immature and a bit of a pig, but not necessarily a bad guy. And he's still immature and a bit of a pig and not necessarily a bad guy. And it also annoyed me that I felt like there weren't any real repercussions. Like the film's definitely of a different era when it's like the guy can be terrible, but he's not terrible, but the guy's just a bit of an idiot and his girlfriend breaks up with him because he's an idiot and he basically doesn't have to do anything and still like wins her back in the end. So yeah, that annoyed me a bit. And I agree with what you were saying, Rachel, about the little kid whose name I've also forgotten now. And how like it's just like I was like, why is this child just like a mini like Chris Rock and he's got no dad and his mum's probably really absent? Like he just felt like a bit. Obviously, it being in the writer's strike makes sense for kind of some of the lack of development, but it just felt like a kind of almost cheap stereotype of kind of what a child who's like got a single mum and kind of all that kind of stuff, like what he could be like. So yeah, I didn't love that part about it.
It's interesting though, just on that point, because I think when they mention about Ronnie having a lone parent, single mother, I think I don't know if anyone else, but in my head, I was when I rewatched it again, I couldn't remember what the mum was like. Then I think it kind of sets it up to be, you would perceive it to be maybe like a mum from a low socioeconomic background, for example. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, she's got this really mouthy kid and so on. So you kind of, I think they kind of set it up to expect it. And then obviously the mum opens the door and he's got, a very nice house and so on. He's got a very polite and kind of like, I think, I can't remember what her job is, but obviously she's really like well spoken. So they didn't play the mum. They could have really stereotyped that whole family in a really kind of negative and racist way, let's like face it. But they didn't. And then I think where you mentioned around like being the little mini Chris Rock, it would have been interesting at least if they'd kind of, I don't know, maybe she's career focused and then he's at home watching it. Like there was no kind of what's the word, like reasoning, I guess, for why he was the way he was. And so it was interesting because I guess if they played mum or really kind of heavily stereotyped her character, then maybe you'd kind of get where the language like necessarily you could assume where the language came from. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying it was interesting because they kind of went down a different pathway with the characterization of the mum, but then didn't give Ronnie enough like flesh, I guess, as a character to
Yeah.
justify it, if you see what I mean. To just, or not justify, to explain, oh, that's where he gets his behaviour from. And like even with Wheeler, and I guess the kind of the character development was very short, but it was a bit when he realised, oh shit, I've actually fucked up and I've let somebody down, and actually I've had somebody who's depending on me and I need to go and fix this. Very, very small, like 2 minute character development. But like from that was a really nice opportunity to maybe like have them both go on a bit more of a journey than they'd maybe had earlier on in the film. I just felt that was a slightly kind of disappointing part. Yeah, the Chris Rock thing just made me think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
kind of feel
definitely.
like it's kind of like one part against the other, because it's kind of like the story of Paul Rudd's character and Oggy is kind of like, I mean, I don't think it's completely fleshed out. I think there's like things that, not that they don't make sense, but like the way that they interact with Paul Rudd's character sometimes is a bit like, what? Like it's like, I don't know. It's like you said, Camilla. Like, it's if somebody told him to have a holiday, maybe like everything would have been okay. And but yeah, the way that they interact with him sometimes is a bit confusing. But other than that, like I think that story is it's quite sweet, and like it's quite like, for the most part, it's quite nicely developed. I think they could have done a lot more, but yeah, it's nice enough. Whereas Sean William Scott and Ronnie is just kind of like, it's kind of like a skeleton of a story with them swearing at each other. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a strange kind of, it's a bit of a strange sort of contrast. I also thought it was weird at the end, like when they got off jail. I was kind of like, I didn't really understand why, because it wasn't really a it wasn't really a happy ending or anything, and all it meant was that they just didn't have any consequences. Like, it was just, yeah, strange.
Emmanuel was gonna. I think we cut off Emmanuel actually. Sorry, Emmanuel.
Oh, no, it's okay. I wasn't. I did want to go next because I can feel the tiredness hitting. Um, Camilla, did you have anything else to say before I start?
Oh, sorry, I'd mute myself. I forgot that I was gonna say what Rob just said about at the end, how there are no consequences to their actions, which just is so stupid. Like, okay, so because you went and like helped the kid and you did some LARPing, you just missed your court
Yeah,
appearance. So okay, so now your lawyer slash ex-girlfriend is going to take you back because like you did something for somebody else and you sang a song. Like there's still consequences. Everything that was like the problem when they first go to Sturdy Wings is still a problem at the end of the film, but it's just like, oh, and they all live happily ever after. And it's just like, it's just strange. Like, why are there no consequences when you also messed up the Sturdy Wings thing, so it's not, you didn't actually complete the community service either. It's just
yeah,
He did it in a way because I guess he he's made like a difference, isn't it? It's not necessarily like a he did the hours, and he also kind of for Oggy like supported him and
yeah,
what he needed to do, and obviously I guess did a selfless, I guess for his partner or whatever, had kind of done a selfless thing in a sense of actually stepping into support something that really mattered for the boy and for Oggy, and kind of what he really understood how much it meant. And I think that's still
I feel like that'd be that's such an easy own goal joke kind of thing you could do though. Just kind of like you have the big like emotional ending where everyone did their character development and it all ended nicely, and then like just like smash cut to them both in jail anyway. Like
Yeah, that would have been really funny.
yeah.
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 that was kind of my whole problem with the film. I just felt like there weren't any jokes. It was just people saying ass and balls and boobies. I was like, okay, these aren't jokes by themselves. They're just swear words.
That thing with the ending as well, though, right? Like the thing that made me kind of, I don't know, I don't know. I just felt weird about it. It was like the tone of it all, because it kind of, it, I think you can tell that the ending was changed because it sort of builds up to like this panic about them missing the court date, and they're like knowingly making this sacrifice to like right the wrong that they've done to these kids and like all that kind of stuff. And then it's just like you've got his girlfriend or well his lawyer at the time, sort of like panicking to find him and all that kind of stuff. Then just out of nowhere, it's like, oh, actually, it's fine. I just got you off. And it's like, but what? Like, it's just that's not no.
I don't think, but I don't think it was the case of she said, "Oh, you've got you off." I think it was the fact that like
I'm not speaking literally, but like that's how the tone changed. Like it's
well, what's her name? I can't think what her character was called.
it's the sturdy wings woman.
Yeah, she was there, and I guess it just was inferred that they were gonna eventually kind of get, find a way to get them off. But I agree. I think there's, there could have been something around actually. Yeah, we could do a bit better as individuals, or kind of demonstrate to these kids that actually our actions have consequences. I think.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I would have liked from it is if the redemption arc was like a bit more of a curve, rather than it just being like these are these guys, and they're going to continue to be these guys, and they'll sort of realize that they've let a kid down on the way, kind of thing. Like if the curve was a bit deeper, and they actually changed as people, and I think also like just if Sean William Scott got more shit from people, it would have been nice.
It's very convenient as well that like both they piss off their kids at the same time effectively. Like they have like their big bust up with their kids like in the same like 5 minutes.
Yeah, even that I would have liked it if they were like a bit more connected. Like, yeah.
I wouldn't even say they had bus stops with the kids though. Like,
well,
because Sean William Scott just went and had sex, and he and Ronnie ended up walking back home. It was his mum that was pissed off, and
Ronnie was pissed off as well. Like he's throwing the phone when Stifler and he slammed the door in his face. Like I think he's still angry.
There was never an actual bus stop though, because it was really easy for him to make up. Like as long as like his mum seemed okay, then he was willing to sort of be like, yeah, sure. And on the other side, obviously, Christopher Mintz-Plasse character was, yeah, that's the one. He got pissed off that he got kicked out because of the action at the LARPing event. But I think more of the issues with that was sort of him kicking off at his parents. But no, I may as well.
But he is still angry at Paul Rudd for getting him kicked out of Lair.
Well, I mean, I may as well do my opening statement. Like, I still really like it, but as a comedy film, it's right down my street. That's the sort of thing that I tend to enjoy. Like, I like that sort of American Pie, pure old humour. At times makes no sense, but I'm just. I think half the time I watch these sort of things just sort of something light to make me laugh, especially if it's been like a rough day, rough week, or whatever. I thought as a story, like if you dissect the story as like as any other genre, like it got a lot of holes in it, but I think what it tries to set up, I thought it did okay. I actually did think there was development of both main characters. Like, right, let me get the names up because I'm. Give me one sec. Right, so obviously Danny's a grumpy bitch at the beginning of the film, and for most of it. Obviously, feels like his life's amounting to nowhere. I've had that feeling at points in the last few years. So I sort of got where he was coming from, but like he was treating everyone around him like shit. Even Wheeler, who's like happy-go-lucky kind of person, very immature. That he treated everyone like shit, and I think it took for his girlfriends to split up with him for him to sort of wake up. Though you don't really see it straight away, but I think him spending so much time with Oggy and seeing what meant the most to him, I think you gradually saw him sort of come to terms with the person he needed to be. Wheeler, on the other hand, is basically Stifler 10 years after American Pie.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved his character. Like he was most of the laughs in the film. But I also feel like you had development with him and Ronnie. Like, yeah, him and Ronnie just abuse each other the whole day. But I think once you had that situation where he had sex at a party and Ronnie had gone home and he's like, oh shit, I fucked this up. And I think it probably was a kind of thing of, well, shit, I'm going to jail. I better fix it. But I think even if it was just that small instant, I think that did sort of trigger something different in him. And like, I think his friendship with Ronnie, I would have liked to have seen more of. But I took a lot out of that. I thought there was definite sort of a character development in that sort of segment. I didn't really think about sort of like the consequences of the actions in the film. To be honest with you, like when I previously watched the films, I never really watched them looking for that. But I suppose, yeah, if there could have been some consequences to it, but I quite like the ending. It was sweet. I think I'm going to get abuse for this, but I don't necessarily think it needed the consequences to come out in it. Like I don't know. It's that sort of film where I don't necessarily think it was necessary. I mean, that's my own view on it anyway. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. Great pick.
I think it depends on so just going back on the what's it called? The point that you made about Wheeler and Ronnie. I think it was that realization of him that I guess of like what it maybe means to be a bit more responsible for someone or something. In a way that what's his name? Ronnie, I guess where Ronnie uses such kind of foul language and kind of every other word is a swear word and so on. I think he'd originally gone in and kind of felt like he was going to treat Ronnie as a child, and obviously Ronnie's got this, lots of long vocabulary, so he couldn't. And then he kind of treated Ronnie as like, I guess, on a level with him, and then kind of assumed that Ronnie would therefore be okay at the party. And then I think that realization of actually this is a child that therefore was depending on me. Where Ronnie showed, I think like Ronnie had to show his vulnerability for Wheeler to kind of see where he was vulnerable. And that was obviously that wouldn't happen unless he kind of had left. But I think it depends on just to go. I guess with the consequence bit. I guess it's the idea of like, does the consequence like have to come at the end as like a punishment, which maybe it does, and I'm obviously open to that. But I also kind of think like actually, for both of them, both Wheeler and Danny, there was a consequence of I'd let these people down that were depending on me. Yeah. Actually, I need to do and be better, and that's maybe more of a learning than it is a consequence. And yeah, I don't know, but I actually think there's kind of that idea of actually shit, I fucked up here, and where I've maybe been, both of them for their own reasons, powering on through not considering other people, like Wheeler just being like, well, this is what I do, I fuck around, la la, and Danny maybe because of his moods actually, yeah, maybe the me being that way has let somebody down, and I've upset them. That was quite maybe like the mid consequence, and maybe that's kind of enough of what this kind of film. Like it's not a, I don't know, critically acclaimed, like, it's not that deep to put it as like in a way. I think maybe that's like enough for this kind of film in terms of what it was trying to be. Like I don't think it was trying to necessarily be a, like, do you know what I mean? Like I don't know what it was trying necessarily to be, but I think it kind of, because of the jokes and the way that everything was kind of like, Josh said earlier, kind of a bit like, not slapstick, but you know what I mean, quite like every line was kind of a one line or a joke or swear word, whatever. I don't think it was at any point necessarily going down the like meaningful, deep takeaway to the extent that maybe, we're discussing it to be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think though that like Paul Rudd and Oggy, they kind of like, I think their stories kind of, it kind of works for them, like in terms of what you're saying of there being like a consequence of letting someone down, because Paul Rudd kind of, he's kind of learning that things matter whether they matter to him personally or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's quite nice. I really like their story because of that, like, because it's. I mean, I think, like I said, like I think the amount of shit Paul Rudd gets for being Paul Rudd is a bit like, is a bit over the top when like most of his flaws is that he's grumpy, but yeah, like the big flaw that he has is that the only things that he sees as having any importance in the world are the things that are important to him. And so when he kind of lets Oggy down in the way that he does, and he realizes that, like other people feel that the way that he feels about things, about other things. That's quite a nice story, I think. But I don't know, like Sean William Scott and Ronnie is just like, it's just, I don't know, it's just it's just a bit, it's a bit shallow. Like it's kind of like, oh, Ronnie doesn't have a dad, and you acted like an absent father. And that's it. Like, it would have been nice if that was stronger.
I just come back on the point you made about the grumpiness thing.
Yeah.
Because I also think that it was kind of around like, I think, and this is what I think his wife or not girlfriend wanted him to perhaps tap on, is like for Oggy that actually, I think he was kind of like, well, I've been in this job, but it's like you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
You're unhappy, and you're not doing anything about it. Whereas Oggy was unhappy, and actually he finds his escapism, his joy by doing LARPing, and he kind of makes it for himself. So I think that actually, I don't think it was about, oh, he just was grumpy and is getting a lot of grief. I think it was like, you are miserable and you're not being proactive. You're not realizing that actually a lot of things are in your control, and that's the problem. I don't think it was a grumpy. I think it was more like you're blaming things around you. You've got a victim mindset basically.
Yeah,
I think I agree. Like every time something new happens, his instant reaction is to go, "I fucking hate this," and "I fucking hate that," and it's like, if you, obviously it's me saying it, but obviously when you live your life like that, you're just kind of setting yourself up for it to be shit. Sorry, Rob, talk over you.
No, like it is. You're right. But I think that's the thing. I think because Sean William Scott gets away with so much, it doesn't diminish Paul Rudd's character, but like because he's getting shit and Sean William Scott isn't, and Sean William Scott is the one who's, at least in my eyes, more problematic.
He's definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it kind of,
should get.
it sort of, it makes it feel as if Paul Rudd's getting a lot of flack for little reason.
Yeah, I mean, Stifler should get kicked out from the word go. Like the first interaction Jane Lynch has with him is she hears him ask if Paul Rudd wants to get raped, and then he repeats. He's like, "Oh, sorry, you probably heard that out of context. I was just asking if my friend wanted to get raped," and it was like, yeah, bye. See you later."
Yeah. Like as soon as that scene happened, I was like, "Paul Rudd's not so bad."
This man does not have the sense to not bring up whether someone wants to be raped into casual conversation. Like, I don't think he should be around a kid. Like, it's just weird.
Is it bad that I found that scene really funny?
Oh, he.
I really laughed during that scene.
But isn't part of that, like, in a way, setting him up for he has no clue about what it is that is the right thing to do, or what it is that you should be saying around children and so on. And then he's kind of navigating a relationship with Ronnie, figuring that out. And actually, it's not necessarily what you say, but it's actually what you do that is actually where the kind of like impact is, in a way.
I
Like,
think it's more of a criticism of Jane Lynch than it is of him, really, because like if she's been in charge of this childcare facility for 12 years, and she's just heard these two guys are coming from like from court order, and they're going to be taking care of your own kids, and they're like tied to your reputation as well, and it's like the first and second thing you hear from this guy's mouth is a question about rape, and it's like,
but
oh.
she
I
does
get your
also
point.
mention sucking dick, doesn't she, in front of the kids as well? Somewhere.
Yeah, there's a bit where she's demonstrating the hugging, the acceptable hug and the unacceptable hug, and then Stifler goes, "Hey, it's not like we're gonna buck fuck the kids," and he's like in the second row at most. But I'm like, you definitely heard that.
She also mentions that at the end of the film, when there is a lot of young people present as well.
Yeah.
It's a big criticism of her, really.
Yeah, I think that's where I found it a bit strange because like, you know at the start where they establish it as it's like Sean William Scott is chasing Paul Rudd's friendship and Paul Rudd can't really be bothered with him kind of thing. Then like you see those scenes later and I'm kind of going, I can see why. I mean, I can see how one got lumbered with the other.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because it wasn't really clear. I don't know, but watching it more so this time, but whether they were friends or not, because that was kind of like are you colleagues that you just have to spend lots of time together, and therefore it's kind of like your work best friends, but you're not actually friends. And
Well, my reading of it was that Sean William Scott classed Paul Rudd as a friend, and Paul Rudd learned to class Sean William Scott as a friend throughout the film. That was my reading.
Yeah, he says at the beginning when he starts doing the karaoke, and he's like, "Oh my fucking god!" And he's like, "Yeah, to my best friend Paul Rudd," and he's like, we just work together." But yeah, I gotta say, I'm still doing my scoring watch, but like it's
you're still doing
it's doing a lot better than I expected it to. When I started it, I was like, I don't know how I score someone just saying ass over and over. I don't know, but like yeah. When Pat said it the other day, when he was like, "There's a lot of heart to this," I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, but going through it piece by piece, I'm like, no, there is actually there's a fair like skeleton here, like just yeah, the stuff with Paul Rudd and Augie, like it is like quite good. And like the confrontation he has with the mum and the stepdad, I think is like probably the best part of the film actually. But yeah, I agree. Like Stifler and Ronnie don't get half as much. Like Ronnie's really not in the film that much, and like even with like the final fight and that, he's taken out of it like just like right away.
His death was good.
I did like his death. I loved it.
I liked when they went, "Okay, you just got to lay there now," and I was like, "You just got in trouble for leaving him somewhere by himself. Like you literally just had a conversation about it." But
yeah,
even stuff like you show up at the LARPing thing dressed as Kiss, and you're like, "Okay, cool. Well, Paul Rudd's just built bridges with Stifler and Augie. That's really good. And Ronnie is there also. It's like cool, great. It just didn't have an awful lot. I don't know. He just didn't have an awful lot to do. Once he's kind of mellowing out around Stifler, you kind of like lost his one thing.
Yeah, he could have been also. It would have been maybe like, I don't know. I'm not saying that he has anything to do with relationship advice, but like if there wasn't much interaction between Ronnie and Augie, or Augie, I keep saying Augie because I'm thinking of that kid from the show, that TV show Wonder or that film. Anyway, Augie and Ronnie didn't really have that much necessarily interaction. I think it would have been kind of nice to see them build up the relationship as well, and what that would have been like also.
Yeah, when they're having the little punch up in the car, and like that drove me mad anyway. But like when Ronnie like jumps on Augie, I was like, that came out of fucking nowhere. Like I thought he just called him like gay or something in the scene before, and then that was it. But like the reason it was like sorry, I didn't laugh once throughout this, but like some bits like neared the bits of my brain that laugh. But like that bit was like one of the closest because I was just like, that's so weird. Why did he even do that? And it was like, oh, 'cause we need a bit of interplay between them. But I was like, it just struck. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a bit strange because I don't think he had a problem with Augie at all.
I've just kind of realised something, right? So earlier on, Alex said like, oh, because I said that basically the reason you picked this was because you and Josh watched it and you loved it when you were like teenagers, right? And Alex was like, oh, I can't imagine you loving it as a teenager because he's never heard you swear. and, and I said, well, you'd be shocked to meet Josh then. And I kind of just realised that Ronnie is basically Josh if everything he was saying was like meant as a joke.
Yeah, I think that's it. Ronnie reminds me of Josh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely, when you picked this and I watched it, I was like, I can't imagine a film I could imagine Rachel watching like less. Like, what was Rachel watching when she was 14? I was like, not this one, definitely not.
Yeah, I loved. I loved it. I did. I did really. I do want to come on to the LARPing because I do think that the LARP, like, you kind of finished the film and were kind of almost, but like it was a good advertisement for LARPing, if
It
anything.
was that bit where when Paul Rudd kills the king's bodyguard and the king's bodyguard's like, it's infectious, isn't it? I was kind of sat there like, yeah, it really is. I really want to try this.
Yeah.
We'll grab Ronan and see if he can give us a good LARPing group.
Do you know what? I googled it, and apparently the nearest one to me is in Brighton, and it's apparently shit.
Do you remember at uni when do you remember at uni when Harry King used to do it and he had the little
I
balloon
do.
pirate thing? There were a bunch of like I don't know, they're probably about like 6, 7 people, and they just used to play on like the little like field outside of like the student halls where we'd all just be like fucking nerds. Like they'd all have their little swords and stuff. They'd just be fighting each other. It's really funny.
Who knew that I'd grow up to pretend to be a wizard with cardboard?
Alright, so I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna get this score now.
Yeah, no, I do. I think laughing looks really awesome. Like that was a lot of my enjoyment of the film. To be honest, it's just like seeing that and like how much it means to Oggy and the final battle. I just thought was really fun. Um, yeah, I thought that was a really cool.
Yeah, I like these kind of I think it's the escapism, isn't it? And it's the idea of like yeah, just being able to step away from I don't know, the everyday kind of life. And I thought the idea of the romance between him and the girl, I like that the girl won at the end as well. I thought that was great. Yeah, that she was able to become queen, and he was able to kind of get with the girl. But that actually, I guess, the kind of it kind of increased perhaps the impact that Paul Rudd did have, because I guess in a sense that kind of like bravery and actually the belief that he had in himself to actually go and kill the king, and then obviously ultimately kind of get the girl. I thought yeah, I really liked that. I thought it was a nice way of him just kind of growing up a bit and kind of entering the next kind of phase. And I guess you assume that he'll continue to have a friendship with Danny, kind of moving forward. Well, yeah. Then again with Ronnie, I guess you don't really know fully what that's been left like. Yeah. I guess the LARPing did take a big part of that. There wasn't actually much they gave a lot of time to LARPing, didn't they? They didn't
I
really
thought it was
give
going to be more, to be honest.
anything to Ronnie. No, but in terms of like interest of Ronnie's, apart from tits and like,
Oh, right, yeah.
yeah, that was kind of it.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of assumed they both were going to be into it because I thought that was the whole point of the title. I thought it was the idea that they were supposed to be role models, but like they're role playing. I thought the point of the title was that Paul Rudd and Sean William Scott are supposed to be these kids' role models, but the kids are role playing. I thought that was.
Oh no.
I thought that was the joke of the title. To be honest, I thought the film was about D&D.
For that for the trailer of
No, literally, because you told me it was. You told me it was a film about role playing. Well, not about role playing, but you mentioned there was role playing.
Oh yeah.
I thought, it must be like Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
No.
See, then it could have been like a three-way like pun. So you have role models and then role playing and then dice rolls. Like, you know, it all multiple
It's
layers.
kind of more rolling models.
See, this is why you don't do it in a writer's strike.
Yeah, it is, to be honest. Yes. I do think it's a shame. Like, I kind of want it to be remade in a way because, yeah, I do feel like if Ronnie and Sean William Scott's bits were as fleshed out as Paul Rudd's and Oggy's, it would have been a much nicer film.
Do you think that what would it be different if there was no Ronnie and there was no
No, because if you took Ronnie out, you wouldn't have had the line that made me laugh the most.
Yeah, okay, scrap the line that made you laugh the most. But I'm saying, if you took them out, and it was just like role models or role model whatever, and it was just Paul Rudd and Augie, would that have?
Because if you took them out, and when they came up as Kiss at the end, there would have been 2 members missing.
Yeah, but I'm not saying. Okay,
I'm joking.
not the fucking question. I'm just saying for people, if actually they didn't have the storyline of Ronnie and Wheeler, and it was just Paul Rudd crashing his car because he was frustrated or whatever. He didn't have the relationship with Wheeler, and he just went on, and then it was all about him and his relationship with Augie.
Yeah.
Would that have been like enough? I guess is the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it would have been a stronger film. Because then also, if you take out Sean William Scott and Ronnie, you've got more time to flesh everything out between those two. Rather than it just being like, Paul Rudd's grumpy, and then he fucks things up, and then he fucks things up again, and then he realised what he's doing. But you could have made the dip a bit deeper. Yeah, I think that would have been a stronger film.
Can you turn down yours? Both on the call.
You're lagging
Now
out
that
a
I'm
bit.
awake again, let me say what I initially wanted to say. So, I did it in the first half of it. I was like, I'm not having a good time. Camilla wasn't either. And then the second half, a bit better in terms of like the time I had. I think it was mainly the type of humor. I haven't seen American Pie either. I've only seen tiny bits in the past, and at that time I was like, "Yep, this ain't my film." And then I just like, nope, no, thank you, bye. And while I feel like maybe I heard about this, but I never saw this like near when it was out either. And I think, yeah, I think I know probably why. I was like, even if I learned about the film, but anyway, I was thinking, oh, like why did Rachel pick this again? And then I was thinking during the film, I could see things that you probably would have liked. I think especially overall how they all help each other in the end, and these kids that have whatever whatever else going on, they kind of help them in the end, which is cool in its way. I mean, the way they helped or how it goes about is another thing, but um, I would say it is still kind of impressive that they improvised, um, like majority of it. But I don't know. It was a bit. I think in terms of characters, I think it was just quite strange. I think that like for me, it's like okay, you've all got some issues. Can I let y'all sort them and then I'll come back later? All right, cool. But no, on a side note, so Sweeney, the head of Jane Lynch's character,
Mm.
I'm gonna bring up Only Murders in the Building again shortly. This is not an ad, I
This is
promise.
a wicked segment.
Advertised. We're sponsored by Only Murders in the Building.
Not advertising for it. Oh man. Anyway, not to go off even more the rails. So Jane Lynch, and it made me think about her character in Only Murders in the Building, but her character in that is basically Sweeney, but if she never got addled by drugs, her mind never got addled by drugs, and she never got into drugs, but she has the same vibe, just she makes so much more sense when she actually talks.
I
So it's
fear that
like
the Only Murders in the Building is going to be a recurring theme from now
I think it's just a coincidence because of the actors who are showing up, but she's a interesting one. I was just like, well, she's playing a very similar. Oh, this one, she's a bit more. Yeah, she needs help.
I also know her from sorry man, I know her from Glee. And she's in Glee, I think, as the PE coach and she plays she's also got a very similar character to in Glee.
She has PE teacher energy.
Yeah, she's like quite typecast, I guess, or whatever, yeah. Sorry, go for it, Manu.
That's all right. Camilla probably would have said a similar thing. She did mention her being in Glee. We never really talked about what she was like. I think got
I
distracted.
didn't watch Glee. I just
Oh, you
said that she
didn't?
was, but I
Um,
did mention her. I think we talked about her character being similar in Only Murders in the Building.
yeah, cool, fair. Yeah, all I know is what time is it? Uh, funny story. I've only seen tiny bits of it. I think because of working in the cinema, I've seen tiny bits of everyone that came out in the cinema. And I remember one time, I think I was walking in a train station. It's just me and a bunch of strangers, don't know each other. And this is much closer to when the films were really big at the time. And I think someone asked what time is it? I said summertime. And then like basically we finished the kind of that part of the song and then just carried on our way. It's so random. I was just like, what just happened? Anyway, um,
Musical joke. Was it Glee? I'm confused.
huh?
I'm confused. Were you
Sorry.
making
I
were you
don't know
making
why I went into High School Musical from Glee.
Yeah, I was thinking that's not a musical, that's not Glee. I know my musicals, that's not it.
Why did my brain? I'm too tired. Anyway, let me carry on.
Glee's different. You're thinking of High School Musical. What time is it? Summertime. That's my next pick.
Oh man. Anyway, um, I I think point is, it was yeah, I really disliked Augie's parents. Like, I was just like, every time they were on screen saying something, I was just like, I don't want to hear you speak. You're pissing me off every time. But it was nice for Paul Rudd's character to stand up for him. Um, and eventually that whole kind of thing happened, which was nice. Wasn't expecting them to show up as Kiss. I mean that was interesting. But but yeah, it was. I think it was also kind of cool looking back on it and watching it now and seeing a lot of people in different parts of their career than we know them now.
Mm. Yeah,
So
it's the fact.
seeing someone from um Everybody Hates Chris, seeing someone from Kick Ass, seeing um um Jung Jung I forgot his first name. The uh, the king.
Ken Jong.
Ken Jong, thanks. I was like, I remember his last name. I don't remember his first name. It was interesting
All
seeing him. Huh?
all well known in one of his other characters as Chong, and I cannot lie.
Never heard of him.
Either.
Rob's choosing to ignore it.
At that point, was he still a doctor, or did he quit by that point?
I can't remember.
Yeah, because I might be wrong. I think he was still at the time like working as the doctor, like properly. But anyway, it's just cool kind of seeing all these people. I was just like, oh yeah, them and them, and as Camilla mentioned, and I forgot and then remembered as she said it, like Paul Rudd and a lot of comedians at the time, they were acting in many films together. And you had a lot of that kind of going on over the years, which is cool.
You know what? I did think about that because I was like, it's kind of mad that we've had one of these films where it's like all of these comedians working together, and Film Club is still a comprehensive list of films not starring Seth Rogen.
Huh?
Yeah,
Oh man.
Don't ruin it now.
Oh man. That's too funny. But yeah, I think that was my main kind of my main takes. I'm sure there's like small things here or there. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I did say, didn't I? I thought that the humour wouldn't be for Camilla anyway. No.
I'll be honest. When I saw that you picked it, I was like, I feel like I'm the only one that's going to enjoy it. I was very
Yeah, I was like the pat humour. The pat humour. You're not similar to Josh, but your humour's similar to Josh. I think. Yeah.
yeah,
Similar to Josh.
and John's the same as well. Like a big part of mine and John's friendship was built on really shit, crude comedies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got Josh on Twitter, haven't you? So you've seen some
Yeah.
shit and posts and stuff.
Instagram now. Well, our friendship
Look,
gone
you
up.
best friends, my brother. Yeah. So.
My tablet slipped.
So yeah, so you know about you kind of maybe got a sense of what his humour's like and what he finds funny. But yeah, he's got very he just
Yeah.
mad.
I mean, he supports Chelsea, so that's quite funny.
Yeah, that was quite sad for me him being here today.
Yeah.
We watched the game together as well. That was the worst thing.
But yeah, I knew it was going to be for everyone. Yeah, I knew Pat would like it.
the favourite scenes?
Yeah.
What's your
Don't mind.
favourite scene?
I'll go last because I haven't thought of it.
Okay.
You go for yours because you've been talking about it.
Oh, mine's the one that I already mentioned. It's when he kills the king's bodyguard. Because that just kind of like that sums up like 90% of my, not 90%, at least half of my enjoyment of the film.
Can I stop you there, Rob?
Yeah, go on.
That scene reminds me of how you got into Magic the Gathering. Because you must have played it with Humphrey, and Humphrey's like, it's fun, isn't it?
And I'm like, fucking yeah. I'm going to go and spend all my savings on it.
You better not spend it, yeah. I'm just saying. You're saving. Living. A bit of fun.
Yeah. No, it's just like the way you said it. I was just sat here like, absolutely, man. I'm having the best time in this 10 minutes. Yeah.
And your favourite line?
Oh, the line that made me laugh the most was when Ronnie breaks the tent and then he's like, just because I'm black, you think I did it?
That's exactly the sort of thing Josh would say now.
Yeah.
He's got one of my favourite lines in the film as well. He's like, you white, you're Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great line.
When he called him fucking Miss Daisy, that cracked me up.
How about you, Ben? You were going to mention you spoke about a favourite scene earlier or something, I think.
Oh yeah, I suppose the funniest, silliest scene is obviously early on in the beginning, just because it's so dumb and it's kind of like, I wouldn't say slapstick, but it was kind of like on the verge of like comedy that kind of like is like you can predict it's gonna go badly, but it's how bad it's gonna go, and it's kind of like on that level. It's like this when Paul Rudd's kind of like given up on the whole spiel of the going into the schools and doing the energy drink slogan, like Minotaur, whatever we called it, and he literally, and then the tow truck comes in and tries to tow them away, and he's obviously so hell-bent on trying to get out of it, and it just obviously ends them up into kind of like, basically that's the turning point of the film, really. That's the last straw. So that was probably the silliest scene for me in terms of amusement. I just find it like it's like how bad could this go for them? Oh yeah, that's fair enough. As they say, smash cut straight to like, yeah, you're gonna go do this community service basically, but you can choose one thing. You can choose jail, or you can like mentor some kids at this like Big Brother kind of thing. You can be like the guardian, and so I thought that was a good kind of like switch up, being like suddenly they're out of their depth and they're going to do something they really don't want to do, but that's it. So that was fun. I suppose the one of my favorite scenes was, I think Manuel alluded it to, or Pat did, I can't remember now. When Paul Rudd alludes to kind of like what's the character's name? Christopher Mintz-Plaza's character. I didn't hear that. What's his name? Augie? Yeah, Augie. Yeah, Augie is obviously the dinner table scene where they're kind of discussing casually about his future and who he is and what to do with him and stuff like that. And the parents, and he discovers that they're kind of embarrassed by him, and lack of a better word. And it's at that moment I think you really suddenly go back onto his Paul's side and just like, yeah, he's a product of his upbringing, but at the same time he's still trying to be himself, and he's not allowed to be himself because his parents have this like narrow-minded view of who he is and what they want him to be, and even then it's kind of like Paul Rudd's kind of like, yeah, this is bullshit. I was like, well, everything that this boy's done, and this is not to be ashamed of. This is something to be proud of. This makes him unique. This makes him himself. This makes him who he is. And his parents are trying to mold him to be like along the line, kind of normal, in quotes. And that's the point. I feel like he changes as a character. And he's like, look, he's better than this. He needs to have a good, positive in his life, and therefore I'm going to be there for him and going to try my best to kind of be like, yeah, I'm going to encourage all his interests and stuff where his parents might not be. So it was good in a way he did that, and it's weird though, the ending where the parents sort of come up, and I suppose they do come towards and more accepting to Christopher's like what he enjoys and really gets into by proxy. But I think that was just the writer's strike, where it feels kind of like the last degree, kind of like suddenly turn of the family's position of it all. It didn't seem as natural as I wanted it to be, because even though it's satisfying to see his parents suddenly being like, okay, I accept our son to be who he is, and it's great, but it just seemed sudden that they suddenly like him. So as good as it was, it's kind of like it needed a bit like transition, I feel, because he's just doing the role play and with all his peers doing this and that, and then they suddenly drive up there and they see him do his thing, and they're just like, yeah, that's our boy. And it's like, okay, cool, why weren't you like this been from the start? It's like they should have been like this, encouraging him and his interests right from the beginning. They weren't unless they turned. But I don't know if I'm missing. It's just a problem with the writing. But yeah, I do appreciate the turn, but I felt it should have been executed a little better.
Yeah, it's another one where like it would have been nice if you kind of saw the journey a bit, because it was kind of making me think of when Rachel got me to watch RuPaul's Drag Race for the first time, because at first I was kind of going like, well, I don't care about drag queens, like, like I don't really get it. I don't care about it, kind of thing. And when you watch an episode and you see them like making their costumes and coming up with their characters, it's like, oh shit, there's like a huge craft behind this. And then that's how I kind of like found my way into being like, oh, okay, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's an appreciation for someone's talent and craft as well.
Yeah, so it would have been nice if like his parents had have seen him like making his costumes and like coming up with his character and all that. It would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite scene would have been similar to already mentioned, when they're saying, "Well done, Augie. Yeah, you go," and everyone's cheering him on and whatnot. Ben, I agree with Ben as well. Wait, sorry for a moment, Pat. It says I can transfer my voice chat to Xbox, but how? Like,
No,
with no
I've
app.
not using it, to be fair.
Sorry, there's the site to earlier when I was talking to Pat about trying to do Discord on the Xbox. But anyway, but yeah, main point, I like that scene the most. It did make me laugh when Camilla was like, "She is rude," when the girl he likes just told him. He's like, "No,
That is
man."
rude, to be fair.
I do like how that scene plays on your expectations though, because like when she does it, you are kind of naturally going like, "Oh, she's betrayed him," and then he's like, "Oh, nice one." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's a game."
Betray.
Yeah, I wasn't really phased too much. It's like, oh, didn't expect that. I mean, there was a lot of that kind of stuff in the film. But at the same time, I think by the end of the film, I was kind of checked out. But yeah, it is one of those things where it is a kind of strange, like Ben said, because they didn't have the writers. You do get that weird kind of jump of, oh, we're all gonna for various reasons show up here, and now we're super supportive. Is that, huh? Okay, I'm like more so Augie's parents, not anyone else. And yeah, I anyway, that's my favorite scene. Sorry.
I think my one is well, I liked quite a few actually, but one of the ones that I enjoy is because I relate to it the most. Well, not the most, but I relate to it is the coffee shop scene at the beginning, where he goes in and obviously he wants to order a coffee, and well, it's basically Starbucks, isn't it? She wants to hear him use the language of the venti, and he just won't. He won't use the language of venti and tells her she's stupid in two languages. Yeah, I really like that scene. 'Cause that's the sort of thing that I would get annoyed at. I think if I was a customer, I do that in Costa all the time. Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene.
I'm glad I've seen that meme in its natural habitat now.
It was a meme.
Yeah.
What was it? I don't know that.
I've never seen the meme.
No, I've not seen the meme either. And I do like the scene where they go up. I like the whole camping like a segment in a way, if that's what it's called. When when Stifler's talking to him about observing women and their tits, and it's like, I don't know. I guess it's not the idea of like a father and son going camping, like the guidance you'd give, and how typically you'd be giving advice about how to light a fire or something, but actually the advice that Wheeler's giving him is about how to actually let his tits without being caught. I just think like, yeah, I don't know. It's like the glimpse of the father figure he's trying to be. Yeah, just I don't know. I really like that scene. Well, that's my favourite scene.
Yeah, that's good.
My
I think.
favourite scene.
Oh, sorry.
I even though I was mentioning something earlier that wasn't really my favourite scene. It's quite difficult because like there's like so many lines that I really liked. I kind of liked the cheesy aspect at the end where they used the Queen song to, not Queen, fucking Kiss to get his girlfriend back. But I just really enjoyed the whole LARPing thing as an event. But I'd say my favourite scene is something near what Ben mentioned earlier, and it was when the truck ended up mounting the statue, and it's the last bit of life out of the truck was taste the beast while it's mounting a fucking ball. But that's the element of
subtle.
it's the element of this song that I really like because it's such childlike humour. Well, I should really rephrase that because I wouldn't recommend a child watch it, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's the thing, is that they're so like immature, especially
like,
so they grow as people as it goes on.
Yeah, and I think watching it again just made me realise I've not grown at all. I'm still very childish, and
I think that's okay though. I think that's okay. Like, I think there's something about like, if you found that movie funny, and like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
I was gonna say that if you, for example, if we'd all watched it 10 years ago, would we found it funnier? Possibly not. But I don't. I think like there were some styles of humour that will make you laugh. I would always laugh at the in-betweeners, like always. And it takes a lot for me to like out loud laugh. And like Impractical Jokers, for example, I miss it's like that kind of like big but quick like humour. And I think that's okay. I don't know. I think that's okay for it not for it to always kind of funny. There's like particular people that
watching In Between Us either.
I don't.
Oh,
I can't
Rachel
watch
loves
it.
the in-betweeners.
Well, you really
can't
don't know me at
watch
all,
it.
then clearly. This is what's proving. Some people really don't know what I like at all. Yeah, I love the In-Betweeners. I watch every episode literally back to back, like probably 3 weeks in chunks, like every few months.
To be
You're doing what Pat did with fucking Con Air. You don't watch it that often.
to be fair to Rachel,
Every 3 weeks. I didn't say that. You didn't listen. I said I would watch it back to back for 3 weeks. Every few months or so, like I'll just watch the episodes back and back to back. Is what I
I'll
said.
watch it for every day for 3 weeks.
So why don't you listen for?
Wait, what?
I didn't watch Con Air like that much.
Yeah, no, I love
Yeah.
I absolutely love The Inbetweeners. It's one of my favourite TV shows ever.
Yeah, she
To be fair, like,
You fuck off.
it's the only thing that I know that she'll just watch over and over and over.
Thank you. Exactly what I just said. So you
to be fair to
Oh,
Rachel,
that's
she watching it with her that one time where she put on a bunch of episodes, and I sort of warmed to it a lot more than I did previously.
because you're in my company and I enjoy it so much. I know.
Hey,
Well,
it was a fun
explains-
time.
To be fair, I do think that's your enjoyment of Impractical Jokers is just watching me crack up at it.
Who?
Well, you.
Me? No, you get really loud. You laugh really loud. It's really
Yeah, I had a
big.
great time watching Impractical Jokers.
I just didn't know. I love The Inbetweeners. But yeah, that's my kind of sense of humour. But anyway, sorry, go for it.
No, it just explains why you like role models more than I thought. I was like, oh yeah, cool. You like In Between Us? It kind of is like the American equivalent of this sort of form of humor. So it all kind of interlinks with it.
In Between Us is basically, I personally say a less funny version of American Pie, but I think I prefer.
It's the British.
I'm very
American Pie Mash. That's what it is.
comedy. So like, if you talk about old sitcoms or stand-ups, I'll take British every day of the week. But
Yeah.
in every other type of comedy, American 100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, some
that's-
things America does better, some things the British does better. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, like
I agree.
the sort of pure old humour, I'll take American comedy every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I think the best way that I've ever heard it explained was that if you had a scene where somebody fell off a horse, in a British comedy, the hero would be the person falling off the horse. And in an American comedy, you would be laughing at the person falling off the horse.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer British comedy, is because the hero is the one that's the underdog. Whereas in American comedy, you're pointing at that person and laughing.
Yeah, it does depend on the context, but I get that. Yeah, it is quite funny there. So yeah,
I think I just like the quick, like, I think I just like the quick remarks, like the wit, like the quick fire. I don't know what kind of humour that is, but I just like like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, not banter, but I think that's, yeah, I don't know if that's a genre of humour, but that's what I like.
Yeah.
Because I don't like if there's a film where maybe a scene, like, and then the kind of punchlines at the very end of the scene, it loses me a bit. But like, give me a one-liner and I'll enjoy it. I think it's similar to Pat. I think Pat and I, like, yeah.
Yeah, you both have like ridiculously short.
Yeah. Oh, Pat, did you actually say your favourite scene?
Yeah, it was the Taste the Beast scene.
Oh, yeah.
You delivered that like Neil.
Only because when Paul Rudd sings, I can't remember the name of the song now. It's probably a bit too cheesy for me, but I thought it was a sweet scene anyway.
Yeah.
Was that the song you've had in your head all day? You forgot what it was called?
No, it was in my head up until today.
Oh.
I had something else in my head today.
Do tell.
That's all right.
Who's left? Is it just Alec and Camilla?
Hmm?
I think it's just you two left. If you could bring yourself to find a scene, Alec.
I don't want to say. Well, Paul Rudd having a go at Augie's Augie's parents is like, I think, the best scene. But yeah, I feel like that's already been said, so I don't want to just leave it there. But I also didn't really enjoy much. So
What about the one where Oggy makes him an emblem for his country? That's quite sweet.
You don't have to
nice.
force a scene upon him.
I'm just saying he might have liked it.
It's Alec.
What does that mean? I gave this 57.5 positives. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know what that means. But that sounds good. Sounds like more than half.
It is more than
Yeah,
you are
I'll take
right
it.
there.
It's practically good.
It's good. There we go.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Physically, I actually had trouble. I had trouble watching it, so I'll just leave it there. That's fine.
Nice. Camilla? Put us away.
I'll give you my
Sorry,
least
I'm like tidying. My favorite scene. I really liked the battle scene. When Stifler jumps in front of Paul Rudd about to be killed. I'm just like, oh, that's his bestie. He said at the beginning of the film, that's his best friend. And yeah, it's just really sweet. It's a shame that Paul Rudd didn't always reciprocate the best friend bit of it, but I think that was a really sweet scene. I think they had a lot of sweet moments. I think I can't remember what the character's name, but he was quite immature. He was a decent guy sometimes, and sometimes he was just like he was a nice character in an otherwise film with a lot of people who had um who were problematic in one reason or another. Sometimes him being nice was like the only nice thing going on. So yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Nice. It's everyone.
So everyone.
So, you want to share your film now? Unless there's anything else anyone wants to say.
Do my least favorite scene if you want. Nah, don't worry.
I don't think we've got enough time for that, Alec.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll pass. Camilla, do you want to introduce your film?
We
for next week?
never do.
Yeah, so my favorite scene. My pick is an Italian film that I've been suggesting to Manuel for years to suggest, but it wasn't available on streaming, and it currently is, or it was early this afternoon, available on BFI Player. It's called I Am Love or I Sono Amore. I did do Italian for a year, but it was 20 years ago, so I can't speak Italian anymore. But it's got Tilda Swinton, who is this Russian immigrant into this kind of upper upper class Italian family, and yeah, it's a really beautiful film. Is in terms of like the costume and the set and everything, and I'm just intrigued to see what everyone's going to think about it. So yeah, that's my film. It's called I Am Love in English, if I didn't say that.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I found it on BFI. Do you have to pay?
What year is it?
Let me have a look.
I've got 2000.
Yeah, on BFI, you just make a free account, I think, and then you rent it for £2.50. But
2009 it's from Ben. I have it on DVD. If anyone wants to borrow the DVD, I can send it.
but yeah, if people are having problems seeing it, let me know in the chat, and I'll see. I'll sort something out.
I am glad.
So,
Sweet.
yeah.
I always have time for Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, and she's like, she didn't learn Italian to do the film, but
Wow, really?
the whole film is in Italian. She doesn't speak English, I don't think, all the way through, which is very cool.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know this. Cool.
Cazzo.
Yeah, but bravissimo.
Bravissimo. That's
Offended.
Yeah, bravissimo.
I assume she does better than at least oh, what's the film with Quentin Tarantino? And then they're in Germany, Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to act like Italian directors. Like,
Oh, yeah, no.
Margheriti.
Margheriti.
like, nah.
I'm sure it's better. Yeah.
The original Inglourious Bastards was Italian, isn't it?
Oh, was it really?
I think it might be.
Inglorioso Bastido.
Hey, I understood that. I can speak Italian.
Congratulations.
The original Inglourious Bastards was Italian.
Yeah. It was called Quel maledetto treno blindato, or That Damned Armored Train.
Wait, is that genuine?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a joke that could have flown over my head.
Yeah, I just made that up.
Well, I wasn't going to
It's
verify that you
Italiano.
speak in Italian.
Italiano.
Cool. I pasted a link to the BFI thing on the Pix channel. So it's there.
Right, whilst I'm here, I can give all my schedule for the next few weeks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll be on the next 4 calls at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
The last call in October, I'm due to be working the Sunday, but if I can get the Sunday swapped to another day, then I'll be on that call. Then 1, 2, and then the next three calls I'll be on. But then I won't be on the due after that because I'm working on Sunday the 24th of November, and then the following day I'm in Manchester, so I'll have to get up really early in the morning to go. But that's all I have until the 1st of December. When my rotor gets updated for the winter months, then I'll be able to let you know more.
Why don't you just write this on the sheet?
Nah, I don't think it's that important. I just thought
No,
Kinda.
put your name in like red or something, and I guess it doesn't correspond with the dates though, because if something does, like obviously a couple of weeks ago, it didn't happen, so maybe it's difficult to plan. But yeah,
all I'll do is tell Rob when I'm not available. So if I've got to pick when I'm not available, I'll just get him to change for another week.
Okay.
But
Right.
things it ain't gonna be for a while.
I'm going to go and put the room.
Well, do you want me to sneeze out to running? Because I'm going to go to my bed. I'm knackered. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to our bed now. Everyone.
I probably should
Yeah.
soon. Well,
Yeah, nice to see you. All those that I can see. And see you next week.
see you later.
Hasta la vista.
See you later, guys. Have a good
Rob
night.
and Manuel, I'll see you Tuesday.